Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen. Greetings, boys, girls, and all. Welcome to this, my friends, and welcome to this, another brand new day. Yay, a brand new day. Semi-yay. Anyway, before I go into full details on anything at all, first off, the Shelton, Washington weather report. Yay! It was cold yesterday and rainy most of the day, and when I went out walkies, half the time, well, no, 90% of the time my umbrella was required. The rest of the time I just carried the umbrella, that 10%. And it's still lightly raining now. So the rain is good. It's going to be cold. I was cold yesterday and I'm cold today, but that's not bad either. As much as I crave and like heat, my body and my mind do not function well in even moderate heat. And if I'm cold, sometimes uncomfortably so, that's when my mind and body work best. Yay. So it's cold today. And on top of that, I'm just not feeling the best, which is kind of weird because I really slept well comparatively for me. I didn't have too much waking up from being freezing. I tried using a timer thing, but I can't remember how to use the timer, so my fan was supposed to turn off at 3 a.m. Didn't. But I had the blanket that I bring out. I brought it out further so I could do some tucking to make sure that I wouldn't get untucked and too cold. And I actually slept pretty good. Woke up around 4-ish, again from pain, but that's standard. And then just flip-flopping until finally 5-ish I got up because I was just hurting. So, thumbs up on that. I get tired when it gets dark, but it gets dark so late. And with the way I'm trying to schedule my tapering of my ADHD meds, it's the last dose I take it right around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So even though it's just minor effect at around 9-ish that it finally wears out, but the older you get, the slower your metabolism, the longer meds stay in your system. So, but it's 9 o'clock, it's the last time that it would be in your system, which is right around the time I'm starting to get really tired. I mean, right around 9 o'clock, I'm getting really tired. So, it works out well that way. It was still later getting to bed. It was after 11 o'clock before I finally got into my bed, and I don't know what happened. I mean, under ADHD meds, time slows to a crawl. But going to bed, all the meds were finally out of my system. And so time wasn't slowed to a crawl anymore, and it was zooming. I mean, quite literally, I feel I can sit down here at 5 o'clock before I got any ADHD meds in me. It would be 5 o'clock, and before I finished, even doing anything at all, it was getting close to 7. And I would have barely anything done. I come in here with my ADHD meds. Yeah, I get in here around 5, 5:30, whatever. And then I take the first pill at like 6. By 6:30, I've gotten everything done. And I'm waiting for 7 o'clock so I can start to record. Time slows down. And I'm glad about that. Excuse me. Like I said, my eyes are kind of gicky. My sinuses are not feeling good at all. My throat is cloggy. My lungs feel good, but I just feel run down. So yay on that. Now to try and remember what the heck I was talking about before. I wish I could. I derailed myself, but it was the whole meds thing and slowing time down. There we go. You see, I can't do that without ADHD meds. And I took my pill at 6 o'clock. Oh, in fact, you get to see this now. I am taking the second half of my 20 milligram tablet. This is half of a 10 milligram tablet of methylphenidate hydrochloride, my doctor prescribed legal medication. go. So the first half was 10 milligrams. This was 10 milligrams. That means the last of it will... I need to get my dentures worked on because they do not fit at all. Yay. Even talking can push the upper plate out, so it's going to fall out of my face. So great. Now to try and remember what I was talking about. Oh yes, so I just took the last dose now, which means it's going to wear off at 1 o'clock. So I've got to take the next dose at like 12, and then take the next one at 3, so that it wears off at 9 at night. Because that worked. That worked. Mentally, it worked. It wasn't as wonderful as being on 20 milligrams like a long time. Gas from that soda. Because if I just take 20 milligrams, then I've got like 6 full hours of concentration, but then it's hell when it wears off. If I taper it, I have a slowdown effect with a concentration in the middle. So instead of 6 hours of concentration, I may have 2 hours of slowdown, 2 hours of slowdown, and then 4 hours of concentration in the middle. It's not as good, but the effect lasts longer. So until I can talk to my med manager, that's going to be the way that I'm doing it. It's not as pleasant, not as good, not as nice, not as fun, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Also, taking a look on my list to try and figure out what else there is to talk about, because yesterday, I mentioned before how I have taken 5 milligrams of Ritalin and gone to sleep and slept well. Yesterday, I was falling asleep in my chair on 20 milligrams. So, yeah, it may be a stimulant, but it's not a stimulant of sorts. Now this is, though, I've kind of wanted to talk about this, but I've never really known how to talk about it because I didn't know what my point to be and how to do it. But the best way to do it, I've talked about this before, and just as a reminder, and for hopefully maybe a few people that haven't heard about it, when I was younger, like 30 years back, I did a comic book, homemade fanzine type thing, The Adventures of Lemonhead. And just fairly recently, the last year, I've been working on the character, and the idea is in the first episode, issue, whatever, the main character, Lemonhead, dies out of the story. Way back when, I didn't know what to do with it. Now I do. And that ties in with, I have a fairly brutal sense of humor, and that I find death, murder, maiming, and all that to be funny in appropriate times. I'm the kind of person that thinks somebody being axe murdered can be a hilarious punchline. And that's hard to reconcile at times, because I'm also the kind of person, I don't even like to kill bugs. I don't like to even hurt people's feelings. I don't like to hurt people for real. I wouldn't want to hack somebody's head off with a machete. But in fiction, that's awesome, and it can be hysterical. Now, the thing about that, though, of course, is you're using death as humor, but you're using death as humor with everything sort of at that distance, because you don't have that distance. There's an emotional tie with everything. Even one person going can affect an entire community, and in fact that's become the entire point of my Adventures of Lemonhead thing, where even though he was just a minor hero, villain, whatever, very minor, extremely minor in a world filled with superheroes, this character's death still affects and ripples out, because even though nothing matters, Nihilistically, nothing matters. We're in 1,000 years, will there be human civilization? And if there is, what will it be? In 1,000,000 years, there will likely be no indication on this planet that we ever existed. In 1,000,000,000 years, our planet will be destroyed by the sun. In 1,000,000,000,000 years, the matter that's here now will have faded and such, and our universe will be unrecognizable. And it never stops. So yeah, nothing means anything. It's all pointless. Nothing matters. But because of that, everything matters. The things we do, the things we make, the things we leave behind physically don't matter. Everything fades in time. It's just stuff. But each other and the connections we make, that is so important. That is everything. That is why, in, like I say, The Adventures of Lemonhead, when the character dies, there are other minor heroes and villains that some of them get out of the business entirely. Because after they see that, it's like, that could happen to me, I'm out. There are others that see that and they get into the business because he was fighting the good fight and he fell in battle. And I am inspired. And so you have negative impact, positive impact, and it's a full story just about how his death affects everyone. His story is over the minute that he dies. And he dies within like the first 4 pages. And then, even though it's The Adventures of Lemonhead, he's out. He's gone. I have spent a lot of time on this world system, and I'm not quite sure why, working on an afterlife for these people, because even though Lemonhead is dead, he's still in this afterlife. And in this world system, there is an intelligence that has figured out and created an individual, dynamic, on the fly, entertaining and morally enriching afterlife that will last you forever. And it has that for everyone. And in this world, sometimes people come back from death. Every 5 years or so, someone will come back. Because the intelligence there has determined that for their continued spiritual and enriching growth, they need to live just a little bit longer. And then when that's done, back to the afterlife for continued growth. Why I'm spending so much time on something that would be so minor, not minor to the characters, because some people know about this. After all, the authorities in question would be very interested in people coming back. And they've been able to determine, through independent conversations with them, that they come from it's a common place. So that's how they've been able to determine all this stuff. So hopefully I'll get something done with that. Because The Adventures of Lemonhead are good, even though Lemonhead is dead. Lots of other things I want to talk about too. Of course, not really time today, but there's still the bone hurting juice world. I gotta give that place a name. Because I've still been working on histories and such like that, and I've got all sorts of things. I just don't have time to talk about it right now, because I have opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. And even though there aren't many this time, I'm still going to go through and thank up to 20 to 25 people for having left me comments. I'm not reading the comments right now. I'm going to read them afterward. Thumbs up each one I do. Answer as many as my executive dysfunction will allow. Thumbs up for that. If I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count in American Sign Language, no matter how far I have to count, who knows? My ADHD is getting better, but I still have grieving, depression, and a whole raft of other issues. Getting better all the time, but yeah. Let me call up my crew, and we have Prufosa. thumbs up and thank you. We have Ice Damon, greatly appreciated. Secha Boy 2, thumbs up. Drifter, greatly appreciated. C1 Zer, I can't read that. It looks like XURN, thumbs up and thank you. Christopher Thomas, greatly appreciated. Mr. Gatlin, thumbs up. We have Denial, greatly appreciated. King Dragon 13, thumbs up. There's Luis Santiago, greatly appreciated. Nando Rice Chiruti, thumbs up and thank you. There is a large name that looks like it's in Cyrillic or Kyrillic. I can't remember how to pronounce that, but thank you very much. And Ethan James, greatly appreciated. Mateo Poole, thumbs up. Gamer Jamie, greatly appreciated. Cesar Ocampo, thumbs up. And that is it. Looks like 13, 11, 16 people, greatly appreciated. However many people that there are, the fact that you leave any comments at all is definitely a thumbs up, greatly appreciated. Now, if I can try and remember how the rest of my spiel goes. It's like, you get me out of my head. Here we go. Into the world, dealing with real people. Definitely a thumbs up. Thank you very, very much. If you could check out my various links down below, Twitter, Facebook, Patreon.com. If you could become a Patreon.com patron, like one of these beautiful and awesome people, that would be beautiful and awesome. And if you'd like to help me out without sending money through the patronage, I have a PayPal link down below. And hopefully I'm going to update the Amazon wish list link today that is down there. Well, hopefully it'll have things like Reptisand and hamster food and hamster bedding and cat food. And if you could check that out, that would be very awesome. Do not feel obligated. I do not feel entitled. And if you cannot donate or you simply do not donate, I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart, where I draw interest, so thank you very much. And if you could toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation I got from my citizens. A definite thumbs up. And of course, if you could hit the notification bell on the subscription button, that would be very, very cool. A definite thumbs up indeed. And of course, the duck head of scorn. It does have a great and abiding affection for us, and it wields its scorn as a weapon because that is the only tool it has, and its mockery is severe. Rental tongue syndrome, my sincere apologies. Somewhere out there, the horse head of encouragement is trying to get back its powerful throne. I can't even speak English today. My sincere apologies. So, weather the storm. Weather the storm. And of course, Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate. Good golly, Miss Molly. I mean, hopefully, if you're one of those people that are watching this and you have been watching my vlog, you're not one of those people that would engage in that sort of activity. But if you are, don't. And if you aren't watching, then don't. Doesn't work out, but still. And is there any more? I can't even remember anything anymore. I have gotten fully lost off of the way I say things. So, if you don't have to go out, please don't go out. If you do, wear a mask, wash your hands, try not to touch your face, maintain your social distancing, get yourself a vaccination shot. We're almost through this. I was hoping that we would have some world changes, but instead we're just going back to the status quo, which means the next pandemic is going to be even worse. So thumbs up. Anyway, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. And that is a definite thumbs up. And then I can murder her, and then I can eat her.